Hello, everybody. Now it's been about 48 hours since I last did my did a video, and so I decided to release one today. And I kind of have a lot to talk about, to to go over, since my thread on Forex Factories continues to pick up speed, and I guess my following on YouTube is the same way. I'm getting a lot more questions from people asking about. Um, Sorry, I'm like watching myself talk. Um, Asking about, you know, aspects of trading or what I should cover in the videos. Um, and so I'm going to answer some of those questions today. And I'm also going to give you an update on what's going on, profit-wise, my progress. And then talk about a few things that are in the works as well. So hopefully this will be an interesting video today. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but yeah, hope you enjoy it. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about is I don't want to I don't want to feel the need to babysit. If people are copying what I'm doing, my technique, my trading style, and are using the trader agent software that I recommend to use my strategy with, it's not my responsibility to answer people's questions. I'm not here to coach people, especially on a forum. If you want coaching, I can maybe do that in person, but I'm not going to do that over the forum because I can't check your charts. I'm not here to kind of babysit what you're doing, and if you have losses because you're not trading the system right, and you blame the system, that's just not me. That's a good way. That's the kind of stuff that will make me stop what I'm doing. When I see traders abusing what I'm doing because they're not doing it correctly, and then not taking blame for the mistake. And I see this happening quite a bit, and so I don't want to be I don't really want to be a part of that. So I'm sorry if that disappoints you, that I'm not going to be the person that tries to correct you if something goes wrong, or if somebody has a question, I may not be there to answer. Um, and it's because that's not where I'm wanting to go with all of this. Okay, so progress report. The trades on the LMFX just closed out because of the Bank of England's interest rate has not been changed, and there was anticipation for maybe a rate change later this year, and now that has been taken off the table. There is some news coming out. Well, not news, but Carney is speaking here right now, actually 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and so people will be watching for his words to see if they can get an idea of where that interest rate will be, when and where they will raise the interest rate. So get an overall picture of what to expect in the future with the pound. So the overall push was down here after the news did come out, and there was a lot of anticipation for it to push up, and it did before the news came out, because people were anticipating that that there would be more rises in raising increases in the interest rate later this year, and that just didn't happen. So then it fell pretty abruptly, and I would guess that there would be probably more to go, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get an inside candle or some kind of indication here that this could shoot back up. So let's give you a progress report on what's going on on all my accounts. So the easiest way to do that is just to show you my FX book. If I can actually find them all. I have so many icons up here at the top. So refresh this, but I don't think it has changed. So 15% on the $124,000 account. So far this week, I've had 0.74% profit on this account, which is $909 in 161 pip difference. This month so far it's going very well. We're only three days into the month, and I'm already at 0.5%. So I'm pretty happy with that. And again, a small update. Last month was 5.79%, which is the biggest month that I've had for trading, and that was in large part to adding the Australian dollar, Australian CAD pair. So that has been a big success. Okay, so 0.74% profit there, and this is my other buddy's account, and he's looking at 0.66% profit, so slight differences there. My other friend had there's difference in price from the even with the same broker, so they're both using Oanda, but since this friend has a larger account, they've put him on a slightly different server, which means that there's small differences in price. So they've had some slight differences in their trading, but overall pretty close to the same stats. This is the MaverickFX account, and this trade just closed out, and there was some positive slippage. So instead of coming out with like 3% profit on the actual trade, I came out with 10%. And so that's why there's a big increase there. So 60% profit on this account this week at 10.31%, which is only $26 because this account is so small. But this month at 8.91%. This account again is running at 5 times my standard risk of what I'm the standard risk means the risk that I'm using on, say, this Robert managed account. That this account is 5 times less risk than LMFX. It's just because I have the $284 in there, and I'm running this account like it's 1,000, and so that's why the increased risk. Actually, I'm running this account like it's 2,000, like it's a $2,000 account, and with just $284. So that's the story there. Some good successes, and I also have my trades on this account, the Oanda. This is a live account as well with $10,000. So I've profited $142 since starting this account. I haven't attached this one to a MyFX book yet, but I probably will soon. And so far since I've started, it's been going well. I also have the MaverickFX, and this is profiting as well. So what's happened with Maverick is, since the change of the new month, so on the 1st of this month, so right after I did my stream, they gave me an email saying that, let me see if I can find that email. I'm gonna rummage through my email. Okay, that's not it. Okay, so this is the email from Maverick, and they're saying, first of all, great job with your trading this month as you closed above your high water mark. Your profits this month were $109 with $32 that will be distributed to the firm. Your new high water mark is $24,076.38. Keep up the good work, and please let me know if there's anything we can assist you with. So how does this work? So I started with Maverick pretty much the last week of the month, last month, and they were telling me that there wasn't enough time in the month for them to include the month as a successful trading month because there was only 4 days left. They actually changed their mind on that and decided to work with me with the last 4 days. Since I came out with a profit of $109, they decided, which is awesome, that they were going to include that as a profitable month. Now I just need to have August be a profitable month, and then they will move me to the next stage, which is an additional 20,000 of trading funds. So I'll get more into that in a second. So how does this work? So the $109 and the firm takes 32, so that's their portion, the 30% portion. So they withdrew 30% from the account. You can actually see that how that's working. 30% has been taken off the top, which was the $32, and they left my portion in, and also gave me the option to make a withdrawal. And the withdrawal form looks like this. You put your bank information in, and it's pretty simple. All right, so that's a progress report, and that's how MaverickFX works. And so far, pretty happy with it. And I'm glad that they gave me a profitable month with only just 4 days of trading. Overall, smooth sailing so far. Okay, so let's talk about the differences of LMFX and Oanda. There were some issues recently, not issues, but there's been some pretty big price differences from LMFX compared to Oanda and even Trader's Way too, so that just comparing those three brokers. Now, if you're looking at the price here, you'll see that there's an inside candle set up here. Well, at least see if I can. So inside candle set up here on LMFX. And there's the entry. I had a short entry here. Now, as you can see, that this was an unfortunate trade because it went against me a good 170 pips to the top, to the entry. There was a pullback here, got real close to closing out at this point, just didn't have enough. I think I was only maybe 10 pips away. If this went 10 pips more, I would have closed out for profit. Just, sometimes that happens. So on my thread, there were some people that were freaking out about this. If it was because there was a difference of price, with my entry being here at LMFX and my entry not being until here at Oanda. And I'm going to get into that now. So what that looks like is here. So you can see my entry at Oanda, and look at this. So you saw where the inside candle setup was at LMFX. You see that candle? It's not an inside candle anymore. It's not a bearish candle. This was a bullish candle. It ended bullish. So there was no setup there, and that's the difference of Oanda compared to LMFX, is the small, I guess, price difference. And then I didn't have an entry. I had an entry 40 pips later, so it got me at a much better price, and I actually was able to profit on that pullback. So at this point, yes, Oanda has a much more accurate price, in my opinion, because it's showing a better representation of what's happening in the market, and that has been the case pretty much consistently. Ever since I started using LMFX and comparing the two. Oanda has had more accurate price representation in the candlesticks. And so this closed out on that pullback, and I missed drawdown from the whole rest of the move back up. There hasn't been any trades since that time. No inside candles anywhere in here. And so it's been pretty quiet, which is great because we had the news, the BOE news coming out, and so I was happy not to have a bunch of trades in. All right, and what's further interesting is that there was another setup at LMFX, another inside candle setup. I mean, I was in a trading basket here, so this was obviously not taken, but there was another inside candle setup that Oanda again never had. This one worked out okay because there was a bit of a resistance at the top at the whole number at 167, and it pulled back there quite a bit, and that trade would have closed out. But still, two trades that Oanda would have never had. That's the thing that you sometimes have to be wary about, watching your price compared to other brokers, and some of the main brokers, like Forex.com and Oanda, it used to be FXCM, but they may have a better representation of what price is doing. And so it's good to compare to see what's happening with that. All right, so I closed out for quite a bit more profit here, as you can see, because of the slippage, but I'm still happy with it. All right, so let's go into the next part of the video, which is answering some of the questions on the thread. Now, there's been quite a few different questions that have been coming in. Thank you, Steve, for your input and posting your charts on screen. He had a trade that that he listed here, waiting for this level to be reached before looking to short. I'm not sure if he ever got a short at this area, but what it looked like, he's on the 4-hour. He was looking at a short, I believe it was in here, but I'm going to check and see. From what my 4-hour is showing, I believe it was in this area. So I wonder if he took a position or not. Even if he did, he would have likely taken profit out of this big move here. And so, good job, Steve, for making that work. All right. So you don't have to use, the idea behind my system is not just about the inside candle setup. That's not the magic here. That's a good, I guess, entry indication. But there is a lot more to my strategy, especially if you're trading it manually. There's a lot more tools that you can use, like support resistance and levels in whole numbers or round numbers to help guide where to enter trades. And what Steve is talking about here is he's looking at the levels on the chart, but he's also looking at the candlesticks. The candlesticks can show you so much. It's not just in the inside candle, but you can see here that there are multiple candles showing wicks and showing bearish potential to push down at that point. He says 3 H4 inside bullish candles making higher lows, I guess. So I'm not sure if that's what he's saying here, but there's definite, I guess, definite. What's the word I'm looking for? Where the market is insecure, insecurity in the market at that point, right here, and so that was a good place for potential, more potential on the downside. All right. So there was a couple of questions that were asked to me, and let me see if I can find them. I'll go with the first one. I copied this one down because I didn't want to. It was a personal message that was written to me. I didn't want to give the person's name out unless they thought it was okay. So I just wrote down the quote here. If you get a chance, can you make a video discussing what tech you use in your Forex trading? VPS, MT4 setup, beneficial websites, computers, etc. Yeah, I think this is pretty important, and so I'm going to spend the next few minutes going over what I actually use to for this whole system of trading $176,000 now. And so starting off is I have 2 MT4s on my platform. One is showing a demo account of a new strategy that I'm looking at, which is basically a scalping strategy. So far it's going well, 1% since I started it on the 2nd. I haven't put a MyFX book on that one yet either. The drawdown has been pretty low at 2.45%, so it's looking like it's showing some positivity. And then I have MaverickFX running in the background, and I'm not actually doing any trading on this platform itself. This is just to look at my trades. And all of my trading is pretty much all my trading, but this one demo account that I have running right here is the only one that I'm running on my actual computer. So the only trades that I'm taking on my actual computer. The rest of them, on all of my other accounts, are taken on a VPS. So this is my live account Outwanda being traded on my VPS, and this is my LMFX account that's also being traded on the same VPS. This is my friend's account, which I won't click on to protect, I guess, this account a bit. So yeah, that's 3 accounts on one VPS. Then I have another VPS as well that's running my MaverickFX. This VPS is a pretty powerful one. I actually opted in for, a lot of times the VPS services will show you or tell you that you can run 5 MT4 platforms on this VPS if you buy this certain package. So I bought basically the package that allows me to run 5 MT4 platforms, so I could run my 1 MT4 platform, my Trader Station software, and my bridge software. Now, how do I know? I want this platform to be, or this VPS to not exceed 80% memory usage, which I'm pulling up right now. And you can see that I'm right near the peak. So it's at 75% memory usage for this VPS. And you can see that the Trader Workstation is taking up most of the memory. And so it's important that I keep it under 80% so it's running correctly and it's not slowing down. There is less potential for crashes. And so you should do that on your VPS. You should check to make sure that you're not exceeding 80% memory usage or CPU usage, so you have the sufficient speed to make sure that your trades are working well. Unfortunately, the Trader Workstation at Interactive Brokers takes so much memory, and so that's another reason why I had to upgrade to the higher packages to make sure that I was getting the best performance. Alright, so that's running on its own VPS, and again, I have a demo account. This is a demo account copying trades to my Interactive Brokers account. Okay, so that is those are the 2 main setups that I have on VPS. I do most of my trading on VPS to make since I'm mostly EA trading, expert advisor trading, and it's important for me to always have those running in the background. If I have my computer on at home connected to the internet, there are more problems that can happen. For example, the internet could go out. Just for example, last night, my router's AC adapter went out, so my router wasn't working, and that can happen, and things could shut off. And that's a problem that you have when working an expert advisor at home, and that's why it's always a good idea to get VPS. And even if you were using like the Trader Agent software that some of the people that are using my system, that might even be wise to run on a VPS as well. So it can properly manage the trades for you when you're not around, and if your computer shuts off automatically or you lose your internet connection. Okay, so that's the setup I have, and then for you guys that are watching my streams or my videos, I'm using OBS to do the videos, and then I upload them to YouTube. I also have this piece of software, which is EpicPin, so I can draw on the screen. It's really helpful as well. I can also use it to take pictures of my screen as well. Let's see, what else do I have running? That's pretty much the setup. It's important, guys, that if you're doing a lot of testing, if you're running back tests in the background, like I'm almost always doing, where I'm running tests in the background, it does take quite a bit of memory and speed. And so I actually ended up upgrading my computer not too long ago, about a month ago, and to get a faster processor, higher memory, and a solid-state drive as well, so I could actually run tests in the background, record videos, draw on the screen with my Epic pin, and then have multiple brokers and VPSs in the background, and also a ton of icons on my Google Chrome. So all this has to have a lot of power, and so I basically have one of the most powerful computers out there. It's a gaming computer, so in most cases you can expect the most power from those types of computers. One of the reasons why I ended up getting it is so I could run a lot of these programs, because it's important to do so. I also have a second monitor that you can't see. I have it up here on the corner. It's just a USB monitor. I use it as a second monitor when there's a lot of action happening, and so that's kind of nice to have as well. Okay, so that's pretty much the setup that I have, and I hope that answers your questions. But I do recommend a high-powered PC if you're running multiple brokers and you're doing a lot of testing. You're running like the trader agent software, and especially if you're doing something like I am with a bridge, running at interactive brokers with Maverick. All right, so there's another question, and this one might be interesting to a lot of you guys, because this has to do with retail EA trading. And because there's been a lot of talk of people saying that retail EAs just don't trade very well. It's hard to find one that's consistent, that's good, and that's not just a big scam. And I would say a good maybe 90-95% of those retail EAs online are scams, that people are just trying to make money off of the actual sale than using the system itself. Harley, he's been around for quite a while with my videos, is asking, hey, do you have any experience with EA check the EA checkout to check out SFE? Sorry, I don't think English is his first language, so I guess I'll just translate a little bit. Do you have any experience with this EA SFE price action? You can find it on the MQL5 store. Look forward to your opinion. I wouldn't mention it on FF on Forex Factory, but they hate commercial stuff, so I don't want to ruin the thread. Thanks for Harley for your message and for putting it here as well. Yeah, they don't like commercial stuff. You don't want to get your account suspended by doing so. So I did check out this EA that Harley was mentioning. And if you go to the MQL5 store, you can see that the EA costs $2,000. It costs $2,000. So the creator of this EA, I guess, it feels that his EA is worth $2,000. I'm not really sure where he got this price from, but he's obviously making sales of it because he has reviews of it, and you can never really tell if some of these are fake or if most of them are real or all of them are real. But so far he's got 4 out of 5 stars, which is pretty good, and a lot of comments. So he's getting a lot of action on it. And you can see from the screenshots here, he shows not a whole lot. He shows a back test. And right when I checked this, I looked at this back test, and this kind of equity curve or balance curve, it's a little tricky to work with. Yes, it's going up. It looks kind of amazing, but this is over a long period of time. This isn't just a couple of months. What he's got here, this is probably a couple or a few years. So what happens when you have times like this, where it pushes down? You have a bunch of losing trades in a row, or these times too. You have these little notches in here as well. Those times can be tricky because they can be multiple months in a row of losses. And anybody that's trading in the retail space, most everybody, if they have multiple losses with an EA in a row or a strategy, a lot of times they'll start to rethink the strategy itself. Is it something that I still want to keep using? I don't know if it's going to pull out of this drawdown, or out of this multiple losing trades in a row, and so it can get a little tricky. And that's one reason why I like my system so much. And I'll talk about Happy EA in a second. But let me see if I can go to my strategies. Okay, so that's why I like my EA, because it has this type of equity curve where it goes straight up and there's no dips in the balance. And that's why I actually built this strategy. It's because I hate when we have this kind of action that goes on, where you have places where there are multiple losses in a row, and then you become worried because you're not sure if you're going to get a winning streak, or if you're going to be able to make those losses back and come back into positive equity. It's like this emotional roller coaster that is hard to handle. And so that's why I like doing lower risk but having a much smoother balance or equity curve like that. So going back to that. So what I did was I looked at it, and this guy actually does 3 months, 1 month, 6 months. So he does have a free demo, which probably means that you can only run it on a demo account, and so you could check it out. But again, I'm not affiliated. I'm not affiliated with this EA at all. I'm just since I was asked by a user, I'm just giving my personal opinion on this EA expert advisor. And I just don't know. I don't know how it's going to perform. So I did a little bit more digging on it to see what's going on. I read a couple of the reviews, and this one was pretty interesting. So this one here, I guess I'm going to just paraphrase. A guy has been developing EAs for 15 years, so he knows, he's very knowledgeable with them, and has done some back tests. I said that back testing was really good, but only negative thing that comes to mind is the back tests before 2007 are not so good. So the EA probably lost before 2007. So this is the problem with pretty much every strategy, though, is that we have to worry about it going through periods of winning trades and then periods of losing trades. I mean, we have that within a month's period of time, where you'll have a series of losing trades that happen in a row, and then the next month, hopefully you have a series of winning trades in a row, and then overall you hope to come out with a positive equity or balance or profit. But the thing with my strategy or expert advisor is I have it tested all the way back to as far as I can pull data. So on the pound Canadian dollar, the earliest I can pull data is from 2007. The earliest I can pull data from the euro pound is 1993, 1993, and with the pound Australian CAD, I think it was 2000, the year 2000, and it showed a constant profitable results since those times. Now, just because this EA doesn't work well before 2007 doesn't mean that it's more prone to have issues in the future. But it does mean that it could stop working at any given moment. But there's not too much to complain about that, because every strategy has that potential. It doesn't matter if it's the best strategy in the world. It doesn't matter if it's the worst strategy in the world, because the worst strategy that's right now could actually end up being one of the best strategies a couple weeks from now, or a month from now. And it just depends on the market behavior, what's going on in there with that. But a strategy that is adaptable, is more adaptable to a longer period of time. So something that works for 10 years versus something that works for 20. And if they cost the same, if they were being sold in the market and they cost the same, yeah, I would take the option that worked for 20 years compared to 10, because it's pulling more data. It's pulling the more data that something can pull, or strategy that can pull from the market, the better off it is in adapting to every market potential or every market condition. And I guess I can't. That's a powerful word. We can't say every, because the markets do change on a constant basis, and so what has happened in the past may not happen in the future. But if we can pull as much data as possible, maybe we can learn or start to learn a behavior of a pair, in the hopes that it may act somewhat similarly to the way it has in the past. And so that's what I'm going off on, with my strategy, is the possibility that it will continue to shape in the same way that it has in the previous 10 to 20 years. And so that's I guess it's the small issue with, or one of the issues with this EA is that it hasn't worked before 2007, which means that it is more prone to having issues in the future, whether that means huge streams of losses or something like that. All right, so that I found that fascinating, and I did a little bit more digging and found that the guy that made the EA actually has a signal for the EA. So I was like, sweet, now I can actually see the stats that he's had, and it looks pretty good. You can see that overall it's creeping its way up. But you also see that there are losses in the strategy, and it's not like the smooth equity curve that I have with mine. But you know, a good strategy doesn't have to be like that. Doesn't have to be a basket trader, because most basket trading strategies will have a more smooth equity or imbalance curve. This is not a basket strategy, and it's pretty obvious. And it's very difficult to find a good strategy that has that's not a basket trader. Looks like this one has multiple trades. It may do some basket trading, but it does take actual balance losses. And you can see, for example, this period here in this area, it was creeping down a bit, and this might be very discouraging for somebody trying to use the strategy. And you can actually see all the years in profitable months that it's had. So like in here, it had a 3% loss, a basically break-even month, and then an 8.47% loss, and then another break-even, followed by a really good December at 33%. This year has been pretty dang good. In particular, last month of July with almost a 30% increase. So if you're able to handle something like this, a strategy like this, then this might not be a bad investment, but still, it's very expensive. I mean, $2,000. I've been offered two grand for my expert advisor, and I turned it down. I just don't feel. I feel like there's so much more value in selling it out to the market, and I feel like this person probably could be using it in that same way. He might be selling it temporarily. He or she might be selling it temporarily so they can get enough funds to build up their own personal account. I've seen some people do that. I've even done it in the past. There were times that back about a year ago where I was selling my expert advisor. I sold a few copies, and I sold a few copies for about $500. And I believe that the people are still happy with using them, using the expert advisor. But it did. I put those funds to my personal trading account, and used that. So maybe this guy is doing the same way. He found a great strategy. He wants to try to push his gains a little bit more. And unfortunately, his signal has gotten a 1-star rating. I'm not sure what that's all about. But a lot of times what can happen with these strategies, so keep in mind, this is really important when using an expert advisor. And you can see that with mine, the same thing with mine as well, that every broker has slightly different prices. And so your results may not look like this. They could be different. Hopefully overall profit in somewhat similar, but some EAs can be drastically different from broker to broker, and that's in the most cases. So you can't really trust what you see. So if you're going to MQL5.com, you'll see that there's a ton of signals there, and there's so many that have, massive growths, and it says that it's only $30 a month to copy the trades. But you also really have to be really careful with MQL5 signals because some of them are not real. I mean, they're scams that the results will vary so much that it won't even look like the same EA. Some of them are scalpers, and that's also dangerous because you need a specific type of broker in order to trade the strategy, and a lot of the signals don't tell you that that you need a specific type of broker. Now I'm going to tell you right now, guys, that if you're copying signals from somebody or something, or if you're buying a strategy, look at their broker and get a demo or something. See, this guy's using IC Markets. That's always a good sign because IC is one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best brokers out there. And I just noticed this right now that he's using IC Markets. But that doesn't mean that if you're using, for example, LMFX, that the pricing is going to be the same as IC Markets. I would find IC having a much better, I guess, price feed than LMFX or, for example, Trader's Way. Okay, so I guess that's my opinion on this. Is just be careful with it with a strategy like this. Because it could be profitable right now and it could change abruptly, or you could have multiple losing months or trades in a row, which can be very discouraging. So it's this kind of thing that you have to be very careful about. If I would do anything with this strategy, I would either do a free demo test it for a while, or if I wanted to really see the potential of it, maybe I would do a month. I would not purchase a $2,000 EA right off the bat. That's just, especially in the retail space when there's so much garbage out there, you just don't know what's real and what's not. All right, so the only other retail EA that I've mentioned before in some of my videos is the Happy Forex EA. And then this one has been going for a while. I actually purchased this EA for myself back about 6 months ago, and ended up not really using it because I couldn't get the actual strategy out of the creator. He wouldn't tell me the strategy. I know the EA does use the CCI in some way, but I don't know the entry criteria. And so that was a bit frustrating to me. I can't use a strategy. I can't use a strategy of somebody else's strategy, whether that's retail or anything, unless I know how it works. And you guys should be the same way. Whether it's a system or an EA, you should really know how the strategy works before using it on your personal funds or your account, because then you're just crossing your fingers hoping that it's going to come out and profit. I really doubt that this guy that's selling this EA is going to tell you your strategy. So that means that you're just going like this the entire time that it's trading, because you don't know when the trades enter. Maybe he gives you an example of what the strategy looks for, but it's a very rare thing because they want to be secretive with their edge in the market. But I would really want to know what the strategy consists of, so I know when trades will go in, I know when they will exit, and I also will know, possibly know, if the strategy is starting to become weak in the market, where it's starting to become less profitable. A lot of times I can see into that before that even takes place. And so do your research. Try to ask this guy, if this is an EA, an expert advisor that you're interested in, ask him and see what his strategy is, or if you purchase it, will he disclose the strategy so you have a full understanding of how it works. And I would bet that if you did that, he would say no. I would be really surprised otherwise. All right, so I think that's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. Let's see what's happened with the pound, with the pound CAD, and it looks like my LMFX is going kind of slow right now. So Carney has obviously spoken. He started speaking about 40 minutes ago, and it had no additional change on the bias of the pound. I did find a pretty cool thing that I think that some of you guys might like. I'm going to show this at the end of the video. And this is at Oanda and Forex open position ratios. This is pretty cool. It's updated every 20 minutes, and it shows you how many positions or the percentage of positions that are long and short in the retail space. And it doesn't include all trades, but just the trades it doesn't include institutional trades. At least I don't believe so. I think it's just in the retail space. But it's pretty cool, and you'll see this. What does this mean? So it says euro pound, 28% of people are long and 71% of people are short. So you're thinking, well, maybe I should be short, right? Well, let's think about that a little bit, because if 71% of people are short, does not mean that the price is going to all of a sudden just start going down, because the majority are short. So let's pull up the euro pound and see what's been happening. Okay, so the euro pound has been in a pretty big uptrend actually since this time down here. So you're like, wait, what? Why is everybody short then if this hasn't been in a massive uptrend? That means that everybody's wrong, right? Well, yeah, pretty much. That's how that works. Is the longer that a trend goes up for, the more lopsided this diagram will be. So basically what this diagram is telling you is when 71% of people are short, that it likely means that the currency or the currency pair is going up. And the more lopsided it is, the longer the trend has gone on, or the more powerful or more volatile the trend of that pair has gone on. So what this means is quite the opposite, in my opinion. Instead of going short, because the majority is, I would likely go long with the 28% that are making a good amount of money right now because they were long in this huge trend. So this is it can be pretty helpful. It can show you where to possibly enter, what side you should be entering on. For example, gold, US dollar CAD, and USD CHF, Swiss franc. All these are likely in downtrends right now, because the majority are long, expecting that the longer something moves in one direction, the more likely it is to have a pullback or a change in direction eventually. But the longer the higher this is lopsided, the more that is the case. All right, and then you have this down here as well, open position ratios. That can be helpful as well. You can see that the majority of people are on the euro US dollar, at least right now they are. All right, so a pretty helpful tool. You can see it up here at Oanda under Home, Trade Overview, Trading News and Analysis, and then Forex Open Position Ratios. So something maybe cool to put on your favorites. All right, so let's check real quickly to see if I have any open positions. It doesn't look like anything is happening. I don't see any possibility for open positions. So the RMI will be looking for this to go higher, and for us to get some kind of inside candle up at that resistance, or for it to go lower and for us to make a new low and then get an inside candle set up there. Nothing is close to happening there, so I'm not expecting any trades soon on the odd Canadian dollar. Now I am expecting something potentially on the short side for the euro pound to happen. I need an inside candle set up before that happens, but you can see that it's overextended, especially because of the fundamental news that was released with the BOE this morning. Is definitely affecting the euro pound. Same thing on the pound Canadian dollar. This has gone down in a big way. So right now I'm definitely looking, or my EA's expert advisor is looking for a push back on the upside. Now I need an inside candle set up here. Nothing is really forming yet. I would expect this to extend further down later throughout the day, eventually probably finding support. If I were to guess where it would find support, I would say at least at the 165 level is where I would be looking for this to potentially give us a little bit of support down here. Either it might bounce a little bit and then shoot back down, and we'll just have to see, or it could have a pullback as well. But yeah, I would expect this to at least go to the 165 level and maybe extend further than that. All right, I guess that's it for what I wanted to cover today, guys. And I will probably follow up again maybe on Friday, but we'll see if I have any profitable trades in that time frame. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Give me any more questions that you want answered or want me to cover in the streams, and I can, and hopefully they're things that you guys will find interesting. And good luck using my strategy if that's what you're doing. And sorry if I'm not always there to answer your questions, because I am trading quite a bit of money, and it's important for me to focus on that. There are some new ideas in the pipeline that I'm actually having a coder or developer work on right now. I'm modifying a small portion of this EA, of my RMI inside candle strategy, that should help me get better opening positions, so better first trades with a slight change. So I may cover that in a future video, but that modification needs to be tested. I'm also working on a new expert advisor in general, a stop loss expert advisor, a tight stop loss expert advisor, and also a tight profit as well. And I may cover that in future videos on top of the others. So that's it, guys. I'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.